Good morning, distinguished Toastmasters, and all the guests present in this room. I am Tejashree and I am the Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. I welcome you all to the second episode of Evaluation Mastery, an initiative of Division EFGHN of District 98. Before we start the meeting, I request everybody to put your phones on silent. Please take 5 seconds to do so. You're all requested to keep your audio on mute in case you aren't speaking. Please refrain from unnecessary movements if your video is on. Please turn off the video in case you need to do so. Do not share your screen unless asked by the host. And use the raise hand option if you have a question during the Q&A session or drop a message in the chat box. Refrain yourself from talking about sex, religion, and politics in a demeaning manner. Let me share the mission of Toastmasters. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. With this being said, I officially declare the meeting open. Now let me welcome the presiding officer. Toastmaster Sirisha is a PQ manager of Division E and president of Oracle Toastmasters Club. She is also a member of Spurti Telugu Toastmaster Club. She loves writing, singing, and learning new things. Help me welcome Toastmaster Sirisha. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Sriya, you are on mute. Okay, you are unable to unmute. All right. Zoom Master, can you please check that? Sirisha is unable to unmute.
Am I visible and audible?
Yes.
Good morning and welcome to all distinct officers, distinguished Toastmasters and Toastmasters on beautiful Saturday morning. It's wonderful to have you all here. Contest season is already approaching. I'm sure you must be having lots of questions. What can be done? What cannot be done? What are the best practices? How to write a speech? How to give an evaluation, etc., etc., etc. Isn't it? Well, to help you all with this contest, as well as getting responses to your questions, our PQ team came up with a beautiful initiative of conducting educational sessions on evaluation mastery, as well as writing humorous speech. We have already conducted 2 sessions. One is on episode 1 of evaluation mastery and humorous speech session on humorous speech. And we have seen wonderful response from all of you. I would like to thank you all for that. Today, we are going to present episode 2 of evaluation mastery. In this session, we are going to have a test speaker who will give his speech for 5 to 7 minutes, and followed by 3 evaluators going to evaluate his speech. After that, we have an education session by our trainer, Toastmaster Lasya, followed by a Q&A session. And this session will be closed by our district officer address. To take this session forward, I would like to invite a person or a Toastmaster who is an engineer by profession and a teacher by passion. He has been associated with Toastmaster for 2.5 years now. He is an avid reader and is currently serving as president of Hitachi Toastmasters Club. Let's welcome Toastmaster Sarthak, who is the master of ceremony for our session today. Welcome, Sarthak, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shirisha. Hello, everyone. A very, very, very warm good morning to all of you. Now, let's imagine you wake up one day and the power to evaluate and give feedback has been stopped until further notice by God. Just imagine the monotonicity of our life. We would be doing something and there would be no scope of improvement. there will be no next time. Do it right. No scope for improvement because everyone would think that theirs is the best. So you see, if you imagine it without evaluation, life is actually going to be very difficult. Even the greatest of speeches would have tens and thousands of different perspectives that the evaluator would like to give. Thus, at any stage in life, constructive feedback plays a very important role to make us improve and get it perfect the final time. Hello, everyone, again. Welcome to the second episode of Evaluation Mastery. In this episode, our main focus will be to replicate how the evaluation contest happens. So we are going to see it from the evaluation contest perspective. You all know that the contest season is around the corner, and at this particular time, we want to encourage more and more people to take up evaluation and participate in large numbers. So here we are with a demo evaluation contest followed by the evaluation mastery. Toastmaster Shirisha has already explained the structure, but I'll just reiterate. We have a test speaker, we have the three evaluators who will evaluate the test speaker, and then we have a master evaluator who will evaluate those three evaluators as well as share her insights about what a good evaluation looks like. So without further ado and without thinking too much, let's start with our target speaker, a passionate Toastmaster who is the VP Education of Madhapur Toastmasters Club. He's a chartered accountant by qualification, a blogger, and he even writes poetry in regional language and shares them on Facebook. He is also an avid traveler. Please help me in welcoming Toastmaster John Pasha Sheikh. Hello. Hi, John. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, John, we can hear you. So, hi, John. Are you able to see the timer card?
Yes, yes, I am able to. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Can we have a quick audio and video check?
Yeah, can you hear me and see me?
Yes, right. Can you just do some hand gestures so that we know that there is no lag? Yes. Thank you so much. So, are you good to start, Toastmasters?
Yes, please.
Great. So, Toastmaster John Pasha Sheikh, unsung heroes. Unsung heroes, Toastmaster John Pasha Sheikh.
Before I begin my speech, let me ask you all. Have you all had your breakfast today? Or the dinner last night? Yes. Okay. Let me ask you one more question. How many of you said thank you to the person who had served you that delicious food? Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and thankful evaluators. During my last annual vacation to my hometown, I went to see one of my old high school buddy who is running a saloon in my neighboring village where my high school was located. During our high school days, that saloon was our regular meeting point. That time it was run by his elder brother. as we deeply immersed in our high school memories. From the corner of my eye, I noticed a person standing in front of the adjacent cycle repair shop and staring at us. Initially, I ignored him. He must be in his late 40s, wearing a lungi, white shirt with the folded sleeves. Because I did not know him, apparently I ignored him, but now I cannot ignore him anymore. As he approached close to us, but hesitating to speak. Just to allow him speak, I said, Namaste. He felt comfortable and asked me a question. How are you doing? I said, fine, good, thank you. But my mind started processing its database so fast, but could not fetch any relevant record about this man. Understanding my situation, he once again asked me a question, this time relevant question. Do you remember me? I felt relieved, but looked bewildered. Toastmasters. It was year 1995 March month, a month of academic board exams. To write my 10th standard board exam, I had to walk 5 kilometers to my neighboring village where my high school was located. From there, I had to catch a bus at 8:30 in the morning to reach my examination center, another 10 kilometers far away from there. Those days, government transport bus is the only means of transportation. I'm not sure, one day I was late or the bus left early. I missed that bus. But at any cost, I had to reach my examination center by 9:30 in the morning, because missing an exam not only would result in losing a good academic year, but it would cause a lot of embarrassment for my parents and teachers. That day, I was standing and praying at the same place where I met this man once again in my life. A vegetable street vendor came to the same bicycle repair shop to fill the air in his bicycle. The saloon owner, my friend's elder brother, explained my situation to this poor man who had to decide to go for selling the vegetables or help this helpless student. He decided to become my savior that day. By the time we reached the school, it was the second bell ringing, an announcement for the students to get into their respective examination hall. As soon as we reached there, I almost jumped from the bicycle and ran into my examination center. Since then, I did not meet this person again in my life. To be frank, I did not remember his face as well, as I was so tensed on that day, and my concern was reaching the examination center at any cost. But I still remember that incident so vividly. After meeting this man again in my life, and that day I could not sleep that night, thinking about this man, so-called uneducated person. He may not be educated, but compassionate, sympathetic, and understanding. As I reflected more on this incident, I realized there are many more unsung heroes in my life. In fact, in all our lives. Do we really know these unsung heroes in our life? They are not the movie actors, celebrities, or famous cricketers. It could be that our parents, our spouse, our friends, fellow Toastmasters. It could be that our office assistant or the home assistant or the homemaid who comes daily on time, focus on their work to make our life simple through life challenges, up and downs in our career. These are the people who is there and making a difference in our life. These people may be working for a bigger salary without expecting any appreciation. At least we should stop and say thank you. The real happiness, joy often emerge not from the personal glory of winning, but from the joy of having helped someone else win. The more we are thankful, the more there is to be thankful for. And today, I am thankful to you all. Contestant.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pasha, John Pasha, for your speech. Can I request the Zoom master to please check if we have all the 3 evaluators in the meeting room?
Sure, Shardak. I'm going to open the breakout room.
Yes.
Sajitatam, 3 evaluators and the timer, please join the breakout room.
Yes, and please confirm once you have done so, and all of them are in the breakout room.
Sure. All the 3 evaluators, Sajitatam and the timer are in the breakout room.
Thank you so much, Zoom master. Hi, Toastmaster John. Can we again have your video on? Hello, Toastmaster John.
Yes, please.
Hi. So I would like to ask you some questions if you don't mind.
Yes.
Thank you. So, Toastmaster John, how long have you been associated with Toastmasters? How has your journey been so far?
Yeah, I am on the path of Toastmasters since last, to be specific, April last year. Okay, so far, yeah, I'm enjoying my journey on the Toastmasters. If I see my speech, the first icebreaker speech and today's speech, I can see myself somewhere, definitely not at the point where I have started my journey.
Wow, great. So, you have mentioned in your bio that you write poetry and you write blogs. So, what are your blogs about?
I blog on the contemporary issues and also some life lessons that I have come across and think useful for others.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. Maybe you can share some of your blogs with us too, and we would love to read them.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you.
I will share the link. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, John. So, next up, let's have a small activity and let's cheer everyone up. It's a Saturday morning, and I think many of us are still sleepy, although we are out of our bed, but we are sleepy. So let's have a small activity. It's a fun riddle activity, you know, the type of riddles that we as kids used to do. Which is the gate which does not open? Colgate. So something like that. So I'm going to ask you some questions and you can unmute yourself and you can answer. Right? Okay. So what has a face and 2 hands, but no arms or legs?
Clock.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Pragya. Okay. What tastes better than it smells? What tastes better than it smells?
Butter.
Sorry?
Buttermilk.
No, no, no.
Water.
No. Any more guesses? It's a tongue.
Tongue.
Yes. Right. Okay. What kind of room has no doors or windows? Come on, guys. You can take random guesses also. That's
Zoom
the fun
breakout
part.
room.
That's a valid. That's a valid answer.
Mushroom.
Awesome. Pragya is right. It's a mushroom. Okay. What do Alexander the Great and Winnie the Pooh have in common? Alexander the Great and Winnie the Pooh have in common.
The.
They have the same middle name. The.
The.
Yes. Thank you so much. Okay. What goes up but never comes down? That's pretty easy.
Edge.
Yes. I think Pragya has already done this activity somewhere before. Okay. Thank you. Right. So I want to confirm with the timer. Are the 5 minutes done?
No, sir. The currently timer is in the still breakout room. Once he will out, I will let you know.
Sure. Okay. I have a lot of questions. I will just confirm. So, okay. This is a riddle. It's an easy one. Two children are born on the same day by the same mother, but they are not twins. How is that possible?
Different months or different years?
No. That was my first guess also. Okay. I'll repeat again. Two children are born on the same day by the same mother, but they are not twins. How is that possible?
She's a doctor.
The mother is a nurse of
No.
gynecologist.
Yeah, she has delivered babies, but she's not the mother.
No. It says by the same mother.
Different year, because I can be born on Monday and the same month and same date, but still different.
So it's a pretty you don't have to think logically.
Because she must have delivered triplets or more than that.
Toastmasters
Exactly.
Sarthak, 5 minutes.
They are right. Thank you. So that's the right thing. They are triplets. The two children are part of a triplet. They are not twins. So thank you so much. As the timer has informed, the 5 minutes are up, and we are back to the main contest and the main session. Thank you so much for joining in for the activity. Your response is appreciated. Can I ask the Zoom master to please call evaluator 1 in the main meeting room?
Sure.
And confirm once she's there.
Now Toastmaster Priya is in main room.
Yes. Hi, Toastmaster Priya.
Hi. One request. Can the Ujala can remove me from the co-host because I'm getting a lot of pop.
Yeah, Priya, I have done that. Yeah. Now you are not the host.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Priya. Hi. So can we have a quick audio and video check,
Hi.
please?
Yeah. Can you hear me and can you see me?
Yes. Can you do some hand gestures so that we know there is no lag in your video? Yes, right. Are you able to see that timer signal?
Yes.
Great. So
I can
Toastmaster
right now
Priya.
see you.
Yes. You can see the
Okay,
timer
so the
signals
timer
as
card,
well.
should I ping them?
No. It's Toastmaster Vamsi. He's changing the signals, just like traffic lights.
Okay.
It's not proper timer card. Yeah. Right. Thank you. So, are you good to start? So, Toastmaster Priya, Evaluator 1, Toastmaster Priya.
The unsung hero. What a beautiful way of describing the hero is in all of us. The way it was presented, coming, making us emotional, going with the story was intact. Toastmaster John, kudos to be that hero and making us learn that it is so important that a little gesture of gratitude, thank you, making us learn that missing the little elements of people who serve us needs to be thoughtful. The start with a question was amazing. You tried to connect the audience with you. You made us that today, when I took the plate from my mom, did I actually ask, say her, thank you? We sometimes miss it. In your speech, I would divide it into just two things. One is the way you have actually brought it up into picture. And number two, the way you actually wanted the audience to take action. You were successful in both the things, in making us emotional and in making us reflect back. However, there are few things that if you add, it will become a good, beautiful piece of cake. What it is? When you were moving your hand gestures, half of the camera, it was hidden. So your hand was not shown. So it is recommended if you can go a little back and keep the camera in a better position, we would be able to see. And in the starting, you were moving front and back. Instead of moving front and back so much, coming closer to the camera, you could have just moved in that little space. Number one. Number two, if you could work on the vocal variety, that is, you were able to actually, if you can get little emotional, ki, I have stayed, this is the same place where I'm standing. If you can change that, if you can get some emotions, then people will get more connected. That's the number two. The number three, at the end, when you concluded, I wanted you to, we all were excited that what is it that impacted you? And if you do that, we would have actually understood that, yes, this is what you wanted us to take. We were able to understand, but the impact, that effect, you need to put it on, because it would show that it impacted you first and then it will impact us. So with a beautiful lining of making us unsung hero and with adding a lot of emotions and the vocal and taking care of the position of the place you are standing in, you would have Sarthak,
Toastmaster Priya,
yeah.
yes, at last 5 to 6 seconds, your video got freezer. Only last 5 to 6 seconds.
Yeah. That's okay.
But that's okay. You are last 5 to 6 seconds. That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Master Priya. We'll observe a 1 minute silence. Please ask Toastmaster Navneet to join the main room.
Yes, I have asked Navneet to join.
Thank you, good master.
Navneet is in the main room. Navneet, after 1 minute of silence, Sarthak will notify.
Will the speaker come here?
Thank you so much to Master and the timer. So also one more thing, I request everyone not to use the chat box while the evaluations are going on, because the speaker might get distracted with the pop-up that comes up from the chat. So just a thing. Yes, so we have the second evaluator with us, Toastmaster Navni. Hi, Toastmaster Navni. Can we do a, yeah, can we do a quick audio and video check?
Yes, yes. 3, 2, 1. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are. Actually, your voice is a little feeble. Can you maybe come forward so that we can hear it properly?
Check, check. 3, 2, 1. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are, Toastmaster Navni. Are you able to see the timer screen?
Not yet. Yes, now red, yellow,
Right.
green.
Thank you so much. So, are we good to go, Toastmaster Navni?
Yeah. Speaker will join us or not?
The speaker is already there in the meeting.
No, but
He has not.
through video.
No, I don't think.
All right.
It's on him if you want. Yeah, right. So, we are good to start, Navneet. Right. So, Toastmaster Navneet, Evaluator 2, Toastmaster Navneet.
Had your breakfast? Yes or no? Doesn't matter. I'll feed you a good breakfast. Don't worry. Fellow Toastmasters, contest chairs, and my target speaker, Toastmaster John. My evaluation will be in 3 parts. First, commendation. Second, recommendation. And third, in conclusion. Taking the first part of commendation, I like the best part of structuring. Directly, you jump to the story, started with narrating the story, and you put me in the place where you were standing. In fact, you took me the second story about your college, where you met your friend and started telling about what happened. That was really put me in the situation that I feel that I'm not in front of computer, I'm in the class, I'm in the school with you. I felt that I'm going with your watch and I'm getting late to office. Awesome. You put me, you kept me the place where I wanted to be. I like your structures of a story. Second point, credibility. Once you said that 1995, I remember, oh, I was also in that college. Fantastic. That shows your credibility. You said your story and putting the date that put you in the credible, I mean, you become the credible speakers. I like that small informations, which is very touching. Third and last thing, message. Right from the beginning, I was thinking unsung heroes. Oh, I know this is very cliche for me. I know this. He will tell something about a people who did a lot of things, but no one is remember exactly. But once you said in conclusion part that okay, what I should do, I should say thank you, and that hero should not be from the outside of the house. It may be from my house also, my mother, my sister, my friends. That shows me, wow, I invested a beautiful time of 7 minutes with you, but I got something to learn out of it. Fantastic. Kudos for this wonderful message to me. And my scorecard says you got 80 out of 100 marks. Even a world champion public speaker have a room for improvement, and so you are. I will have only 2. Once you started with come forward a bit, people will give a more attention to give. You can have more attention grabbing of your audience. Second point, personifications. Once you said your friend, in the black, in white dhoti, and was coming those things. I wish I could remember his name also. Like his name was Vamsi. His name, then it is very easy to characterize that person in a story. Overall, it was a good speech, no doubt about it. You are good in structuring. You are good in establishing your credibility with this audience, and no doubt a wonderful message also. If you work on a little bit of a stage choreography and personification of your story, I'm sure your speech will go to the next orbit. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Navneet. Can I ask the Zoom master to call evaluator 3?
Yes, Toastmaster Sadak, evaluator 3 is in the main room.
Okay. So, Toastmaster Amulya. Hi.
Hi, Sarthak.
Yeah. So, Toastmaster Amulya, can we have a quick audio and video check?
I hope I'm audible and visible.
Yes, you are. Can you do some hand gestures so that we know that there is no lag?
Is it okay?
Yes, right. Are you able to see the timer card?
The timer cards are still loading. Yes, I'm able to see.
Great. Thank you. So are you good to go, Amulya?
Yes, I'm good to go.
Thank you. Toastmaster Amulya, evaluator 3. Evaluator 3, Toastmaster Amulya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sarthak. Good morning, everybody. And a warm and a sunny good morning to Toastmaster John Pasha. Thank you, Toastmaster John Pasha, for this wonderfully crafted speech on our unsung heroes. And you reminded us how we can build a better world by just being more grateful towards all the people we have in our life. I would like to categorize my evaluation into 3 parts. I would like to talk about what I really liked in your speech and how we can improve. And finally, I would like to summarize. So now let's get started. What I liked in your speech. Toastmaster John Pasha, you are a very animated storyteller. I guess you have a lot of friends in your real life because the way you narrate the instance, I just imagine you being surrounded with your friends quite often. So that's a very well done storytelling. And also the message which you gave at the end of your speech, the joy of helping someone else, I really connected to that particular message. And I also liked how you have effectively used pauses in your speech. You were categorically you have categorically placed your pauses throughout your speech so that we can all take a minute for that message to be imbibed. So that is one thing I would like to commend you. And I would also like to point out that the virtual space, like I know because of being in virtual meeting, you were just standing up, but it's a very limited space, but you made effective use of it. You were coming near to the camera when you were trying to make a point, and you were moving a little bit away. And that's a very well done job of using that limited virtual space to drive that message totally. So that's all the commendations which I could note it down. So thank you, Toastmaster John Pasha, for teaching me that particular aspect of using that virtual space. Now coming to the improvements part. You started narrating one instant where you couldn't recollect a particular person, and suddenly the transition went into the instant in March 1996. So Toastmaster John Pasha, I think you could have made a little bit effort on the transition by saying that I know that you guys are very curious to know who this person is. So for that, let me tell you another instant. So that would have made the transition very seamless. And the second thing is Toastmaster John Pasha, the introduction. You started by saying that, have you thanked the person who has cooked your food? But I think that example was not relevant to the message which you are giving. Instead of that, you could have said that, have you thanked the delivery boy who has delivered food to you? So that would have been a very good example. And the third recommendation I have is, I was curious. I was looking forward to know what made you realize that you have to be more grateful to that unsung hero in your life. Maybe you could have spent a little bit more time on that realization. That would have come full circle. To summarize, a very interactive beginning, animated storytelling, the message, A little bit work on the transitions and the relevant introduction, and more time on the realization. All the best, Toastmaster John Pasha. I'm looking forward to you rest of your speeches. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Amulya. Now, those were some heavy and detail-oriented evaluations. Being a Toastmaster, the best thing I have learned is never say never to feedback. Let's see how our evaluators fared and get some tips and tricks into evaluation by a Toastmaster who has been part of some great Toastmaster events. She was the district conference convener in Eloquence 2018. She was the district contestant of evaluation and international speech contest. She has served as the district financial manager 2016 and 17 and has served as the club president, BPPR, as well as the treasurer. She loves to create mazes, for which she even holds a Limca book record for the largest maze created in India. She's a budding baker, a passionate candle maker, and adores to dabble into anything creative. It's none other than Toastmaster Lasya Madireddy. Hi, Toastmaster Lasya.
Thank you for the super, super, super warm welcome. And thank you everybody for joining on a Saturday morning, waking up, and after hopefully each one of you had your own coffee. Else we're going to have a good, strong dose of coffee right now. All right. I hope before we start, I hope I'm visible, I'm audible, and yes. I intend to use the presentation shortly. So I hope is my PPT visible also. We will not do it right away, but yeah, in some time. Is this visible enough?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so now how do I get back to the meeting controls and how do I stop sharing? Okay, all right. So we had few wonderful evaluations. I really think that, we've set a couple of standards about, and I understand that from Pavan that we've done what needs to go into an evaluation. And right now we will in this session focus on how do we ace the ballot. All right. So first, what is evaluation? I just want to do a brief. Evaluation is all about feedback. Feedback doesn't have to be only in Toastmasters. Toastmasters evaluation helps you to do a lot of evaluations in your personal life. Imagine your wife makes the worst bhindi curry and you say, X, this is bad. Next day she's going to come back and say, hey, you do the bhindi curry and let me eat. Instead of that, you say, hey, thank you for making the bhindi curry. However, if you could add a little bit of the masala or the salt or the mirch a little more, I would have really loved it. But I really enjoyed your curry, that sandwich method, how much more she will be encouraged to give you the bhindi curry that you wanted to have. All right. And evaluation is happening all across constantly every single time. Personal life, professional life, official life, appraisals, dealing with the bad presentation that your subordinate has given you. Personally, everywhere you're dealing with evaluation, especially moms or kids, they do this constant cheer up and give that little bit of pointer that they want to, add into their children. So evaluation is something that is needed constantly everywhere in your life. And personally, I would have done about 300 odd evaluations in my 10-year span of Toastmasters journey. And trust me, the role that helped, I would have done multiple roles, and the role that helped me personally a lot in my own personal life, official life, is evaluation. So try to working on your evaluations as much as possible. That will help you a really long way, personally and officially for yourself. All right. So how do we do evaluations? Now, we spend about 1 hour of Toastmasters per week, each one of you at least, right, in your own home clubs. Always be a constant evaluator. Whenever anybody is talking to you, keep evaluating. What is this guy trying to tell me? Does he mean what this guy is saying, or does he not mean what this guy is saying. Sometimes what you say and what you mean is different. So always be a constant evaluator. All right. Second most important thing is shift the line of neutrality. That is, always don't compare the speech, the speech to yourself. Always look at the points from the specific speech. Do not evaluate the person, and most importantly, do not compare that guy to yourself. Your standard might be great when it comes to language or construct. Probably that is his first or second speech that he is giving. So never compare himself to you or to somebody great. And always, while evaluate the speech and not the speaker. All right. And the most important thing is, when you see evaluations outside, it is never that a great speaker is a great evaluator. A person with good evaluation skills needs to be able to analyze more than be able to speak well. So always don't think that, oh, I'm not a great speaker, so I can't be a great evaluator. What I've seen through the days is, a lot of time, 70% of the time, the greatest speakers are not the greatest evaluators. Greatest speakers are greatest orators. The greatest evaluators are greatest analyzers. And I'm sure Pawan would have covered in the last week as to how to, evaluate and how to pick up points, what needs to be looked at. So before I get into how we ace the ballot, let's very briefly look at the different types of evaluations that you all could give. All right, let me, how do I go to the next slide? Just give me one moment, what mindset we cover. The different techniques that are involved, as a beginner, all of us would have followed one template. Okay, impact, was that guy good or bad? Then, you use that in your evaluation. Say, oh, this guy, you created an amazing impact. Then you talk about opening body conclusion. Oh, your opening was bad, your conclusion was good, your so on and so forth. Then you talk about your content, transitions, language, vocal. This is a typical beginner style of giving an evaluation, where you have so many boxes, 8 into 2, 16 boxes. Take what went well, what didn't go well, and then you give an evaluation. All right. Next, another common approach that people do is, the compartment, the attention, need, solution, visualization, action. Again, you go back. Did you really, grab the attention of the audience? And then, so on and so forth. These are the beginner's approach that people people end up giving. Then the third most common, which is something that I also have seen in a lot of evaluation contests, and which is very common, you divide your evaluation into 3 parts. You talk about content, what went well and what didn't go well. You talk about organization, what went well, what didn't go well. And you talk about delivery, what went well, what didn't go well. All right. And you add your opening and conclusion in this thing. But the most common, and where you can put in a lot of your analysis, thought process into an evaluation, is the standard sandwich approach that we do. You give the opening, you commend the speaker that, talk about, what went well in the speech. Then you recommend as to how he could have improved. And then you come back, commend the speaker. A lot of people I've seen who made mistakes is they say, I'm using the sandwich method, and the last C becomes the conclusion. No, then where did the introduction go? All right. So your opening and closing is separate. Intro, conclusion is separate, but you commend, you recommend, and you commend again. That is a sandwich approach. All right. If you don't want to follow this, perfect. You can always say, hey, first I'm going to talk about, what went well, and then I'm going to talk about points of improvement. And that's it. Your evaluation is complete. But the most well-received format of evaluation is commend, recommend, commend. Like I said, the wife's example, thank you for making the bendi curry. You could have added the little masala, but I loved you for making the wonderful bendi curry. It sums up into a beautiful story that it motivates the speaker to come back and give better speakers. So the most recommended, or rather the most used and the most appreciated form in giving an evaluation is the sandwich method. Works well in all cases, considering the timelines that we have. So now, let me since I have only 20 minutes, I am directly getting into how do you conquer the ballot. So what goes into a ballot? First, your analytical quality, how you think, how you would analyze. Sorry, I might not get the names right. The last evaluator who said, the relevant example that you didn't give in an opening, that you gave in the opening, and the what he's trying to talk about unsung heroes was a very, very valid statement. So how well are you able to think and analyze and dissect your speech? Does he meet the specific purpose? So think about the content, especially how you analyze your content here comes into your analytical quality. All right. And then how you would recommend your recommendations. How you don't say, hey, your speech is so bad. All right. You always get specific. You always get into it. So that is where your recommendations. So all of these constitute as a part of your thought process, how well you're able to do this. Then your technique. All right. What is the technique that did you use? How sympathetic were you used? How did you just trash the speaker and come back because the speech could be bad? But even then, you're not, as an evaluator, you're not supposed to be bad. So what's the kind of technique that you use? And finally, your summary. All right. Your summary is not something that your judge is listening to. The moment, let me tell you a secret note. The moment you say, and now I conclude, you see all your judges marking their ballots. All right. So always remember, when you're concluding, mention I so to conclude or to summarize or whatever it is. It rings it into your judge's head. All right. That's one point you will have to take away. All right. So now in an evaluation, you have 3 minutes. All right. The time that is given is 3 minutes. So how do you use these 3 minutes? Anybody? Moderator, can you unpause people or unmute people or give the option to unmute? Anybody who can say how you would want to use those 3 minutes?
May I?
Yes, Lasya. Okay, was it Heshma or Lasya? Sorry.
It is Bandana.
Okay, Bandana.
Yeah, it was me also. Later, I'll go next.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you ask me how do I want to, then what I do usually is first minute, I give the message that what message did I learn from the speaker's speech. Then the next 1 minute I use for commendations. So next 30 minutes, I do recommendations. And then for the last minute, I try to 1 minute, I want to recommend and all. And then I start summarizing at when the red card goes up so that I finish bang on time. And
then
also,
you're way past 3 minutes, dear. We only have 3 minutes.
Yes, I agree.
All right. All right. So first you would do an intro, then you would comment, and then you would recommend and comment, and then you would conclude. Perfect. Yes. But how will you use that 3 minutes of your time?
Can I add to that?
Yes,
Can I add to that? I'm Heshma. Yeah,
Okay,
so
hi,
adding
Heshma.
to that, actually, evaluation is for 3 minutes, 30 seconds, right? 30 seconds is a grace period, right?
Correct.
Just adding to what
Don't you want to be in your limited time?
Correct. So how would I
Imagine
do?
you have 3
I
minutes. How would you
usually,
do that?
I focus the CRC approach. So I would start off with my evaluation with a quote, which will take around 30 seconds. And then, an introduction basically would start with all the 3 points of commendation. And that would go up to 1 minute giving examples and all. And then the next 1 minute would be recommendations along with the examples from the speech. And conclusion would be 30 seconds to 1 minute, concluding the good parts of the speech and encouraging the speaker. And I would conclude it. Within 2 minutes, 30 seconds to 3 minutes, I would conclude and end it.
All right. Okay. Anybody else?
Lasya here. So my mentor says 30, 90 and 30, and that's what I've been doing for last 4 years. 30 minutes of introduction, 90 minutes of what I 30 seconds of introduction and 90 seconds of what I want to tell my speaker, how he could do it or how I perceived him. And again, 30 seconds I will use to conclude. So whatever I wanted to convey, I should be doing it in the 90 seconds.
All right. So 90 seconds is both to comment and recommend. Would that be it?
Yes. 30 seconds of introduction of my evaluation, 90 seconds of what I want to tell the evaluator. It could be what he has done well and what I think he should be doing great.
Both
That
of them.
would be
All right.
90 seconds. And then the last 30 seconds I'll conclude.
So in 2.5 minutes, you want to run away and save 30 seconds for yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Pragya.
So Lasya, what I learned from my mentor is she said you should have only 1 or 2 opening statements which take 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay.
It can be from the speaker's speech or your own
Whatever, your introduction.
Yeah. So 10 seconds of introduction is more than enough. Go directly to the recommendations around 30 to 40 seconds because recommendations are more compared to commendations, and then 20 seconds. Sorry, commendations are more than recommendations. So 20 to 25, 30 seconds of your recommendations, and summary forms a very important part. So at least 30 seconds of that. If you are left, if you feel that your speech is faster, you can have 40 seconds to 50 seconds for your commendations.
All right.
So depending on your pace, 3 minutes here and there, 30 seconds here and there.
All right. Okay. I kind of echo with all of you, probably Pragya the closest. So how we would look, see, to ace the audience and to have the right technique, to be motivational, to give the to be sympathetic, to ace it all up in all 4 quadrants. What we would have to do is, so this is something that I kind of follow. One is introduction. Give 20 seconds to the introduction. Whatever you want to come and say, good morning, good evening, whatever it is. Introduction, beautiful quote you want to give, a tired, want to pick comment on something great in a speech, whatever. That's to each one's style. Give 1 minute on what went well. All right. And then take another 1 minute. At the end of the day, why are you doing an evaluation? We are doing to make the speaker better. So if you want the guy to improve, you need to give that 1 minute to recommend as well. And then again, come back, commend, motivate, ensure that he comes back onto the stage to give the other speech, and not just felt thrashed because after the host of recommendations that you would have given, commend again, and then finally conclude. All right. So the second part of the comment is where I've seen a lot of people miss out. They say, oh, your speech was not good here. Your speech was blah, blah, there. Your speech could have been improved here. And then now to summarize, you did 1 to 3, you did, and then if you'd improved, then 3, 4, 5, and then you're close. Where are we? Where is the ending note to pump him up again? So always ensure you comment again after you recommend before you get into the conclusion. All right. That adds a lot of value. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to focus on what goes into each and every aspect. Well, that is the introduction, what we need to go, and then what goes into commending, what goes into recommending, and then again, what goes into commenting again. All right. And then finally, the conclusion. Before I start, the timer, please give me a sign, a message, I don't know, or maybe a call when we have, or just flash the green card when I have 5 minutes more, so that I'm able to, rather cover all the points that I wanted to cover, maybe in a rushed up manner, whatever it is. All right. So just timer alive, an okay, a thumbs up, anything?
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. So now, how do you do what goes into an introduction? All right. The most important thing, don't appear like you're going to kill that guy, or him/her feel that you're there to make him better and not there to scrutinize him and kill him with all all the negative pointers that we might, the recommended pointers that we might have. So always smile, build the stage presence. Once you're on stage, your timing, mind you, your timer starts when a visual, when you make a movement, or when you say a word. Give that 5 second, build that stage presence. let the maintain the eye contact with the speaker, and build. I know in a virtual environment these things are kind of a little difficult to do, but give that 10-second pause and the eye contact between the speaker and yourself gets you connected with the speaker. That's very, very, very important. All right. And then now look at this. Right now I was taking notes. Like, this is the number of papers I have. All right. One. Okay. In my case, I had of the speaker. I was writing down notes of all the 3 evaluators along. Take control of your notes. Don't have your notes in such a haphazard manner that you're scrambling through your notes. Always keep your notes in control and try not to use your notes in the introduction at least. I mean, it's and notes, at least notes is not a markdown pointer in evaluation. I used notes all throughout. I cleared the division also. So, I use notes throughout. So having your notes is not this thing is a bad thing. All right. And then recognize the speaker. And all the evaluators today have done that. You recognize the speaker. The moment they say, hi, what a wonderful speech it was. It took me a long way. A small anecdote along with it. Always recognize the speaker. All right. So that is something. So next, then you transition. How do you transition? While you're transitioning, these are the points that most people miss. How do you transition? So once your introduction is over, slate to the audience how you're going to give your evaluation. Now with the first evaluator, I might not have Priya, she said, oh, I loved your evaluation. She started off with all the commenting points almost immediately. There was no transition in between. I was still wondering, is she in the introduction or did she start? Then she started off the evaluation right away immediately. So I as a master evaluator or was trying to pick up points from evaluations, felt that, oh, I was a little lost between her commendation and the introduction. So always ensure you slate what you are going to say. Hey, what is the technique? I'm going to use the content delivery method, or am I going to the CRC approach? I'm going to give just the positives, negatives, and conclude. Please slate that. Next, you commend. Then you give your positive pointers. Always never say your speech was wonderful. Be precise, always, and specific. Do not, even if the speech is superb, max to max 4 pointers. I would ideally recommend a three this thing, but if the speech is amazing, max 4 pointers. Don't give a laundry list of positives. List it to the maximum of 4 points. I would suggest 3. Always, always, always in commending and recommending, content first. When you have commending and recommending points, always content goes first. Like the second speaker said, attention grabbing. He spoke about attention grabbing and he spoke about characterization. Ideally, when he's giving his pointers, characterization goes first and his attention grabbing comes second. Always content first and then delivery. And then even if the speech is amazing, if speech is bad, you don't have to be. If the speech was really, really bad, stick to only 2 pointers. He needs to know that he needs to improve a lot. So you don't have to be superfluous. Be truthful to yourself and the speaker. All right. And again, you transition back into your recommendations. How do you do that? All right. For example, in the speaker, the target speaker that we heard, you could instead of saying, and now, I'm going into recommendations, add a nice line. We've learned so much, to make your speech not be an unsung speech, but, to make a speech heard and not be another unsung hero. I have a couple of recommendations, something like that. Pick something from that speech and give it back. And give it back in your recommendation. Just one line, it adds so much more depth to your evaluation. So when you're recommending, always use I. Say, I felt, I found that. Always say, always generalize your positives and personalize your negatives. All right. And don't never say your speech is bad. Always use, I felt your speech could have been made better by blah, 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 blah. So always do not use negative words. The person never needs to feel bad. All right. And be very specific. Give the instance. Give how it could have been improved. And then illustrate it with the example. Always follow the 3 I's. Instance, give the idea how we can improve and illustrate it. That will help the speaker improve and be very, very specific. All right. And then again, most importantly, transition back. All right. A lot of times where I see is people miss the transition statements. And that is where, we end up losing. Now, in the third commending, what do you think should go? Now, you said a couple of positive points. You said a couple of points of improvement. What goes into the third commending? Give the value of the speech. What is the value that you gain? The first speaker gave the value of the speech the moment she started. Save that there, come back and say, hey, I've learned so much from, and I love the way she articulated it. I quite didn't write it down though. What a wonderful way to say, give the value. What did you learn? What's the value that you've taken away from the speech? Give it here. That motivates the speaker, because the specifics where they went right and where they went wrong were already covered. What you've learned, the key takeaway from the guy's speech is what you focus in the last commending. It's nothing new, nothing specific, but the overall construct of what you've taken away from those 7 minutes of your listening is what you cover here. All right. And then it needs to be relevant to the situation, audience, and time, relevant to the moment, about the speaker. That is all that you would cover in the commending, because the time that you've given yourself is close to just 20 seconds. So in this 20 seconds, you cannot cover something great. So it's only about the value of the speech that you've taken away is what you cover in the last 30 seconds. And again, transition back. Now, this transition is extremely important. You say from here, you're going into conclusion. So you're going to just say, and so now so now I'm going to conclude, or to conclude, to summarize, whatever is the English that you would want to use. This statement is extremely important, especially in a contest parlance, because the moment you say, now I summarize, the guy is writing down, the judge is writing down your point. He did put 3 points here, 2 points there. This is very analyzed, blah, blah, blah. They've already started writing that ballot. So this transition is extremely important. The moment you say, I summarize, whatever you talk after that actually doesn't, is not of that much weight. But the moment you say, I'm summarizing, those points of summary goes, your points are taken care of. All right. So this transition is extremely important. Finally, you close down. So what do you close? Specify your closing, and then again, when you end, you recognize the speaker and say, come back and say, hey, thank you for giving such a wonderful speech. From now on, I will ensure there is no unsung hero in my own life. All right. So some recognition of speaker and the speech in the end, and then finally close your evaluation. So follow each one of the evaluators that I've seen have done a wonderful evaluation, but the construct is very, very important. All right. So ensure you're transitioning really well. All right. And finally, to conclude, like my session now, evaluate the speech, not the evaluator. Don't give the minutes, or don't read out stuff from the speech. All right, and say, oh, this is something that I loved. I loved when you said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these lines. I love this slide. Do not say that. Give the instance, personalize negatives, generalize positives, and do not have a standard script. Spruce your evaluation to the speech, to the point, pick up pointers from the speech and use them in your transition statement. That is what adds value. Both as an evaluator, it shows that as an evaluator, you have actually, taken away so much from the evaluator than saying, oh, your positives are this, your negatives are this. So don't have a standard script. Build your evaluation script to the speech at that point of time. So that's it for me. My timer card is going up red. So thank you for being a patient listener. Any questions? Here am I.
Lasya, is it possible if specific any feedback to the evaluators, or those it's covered in the things what you have told?
Very specific to the evaluators, probably we'll pick it up. I have written down the evaluators. You want me to do it now? So fine, for yourself, Priya, you recognize recognize the value of the speaker, which is very good, this thing. Your structure was missing, from your introduction to the from your introduction to your commendation, it was all in one flow. So you recognize the speaker and your positives flew like one story. So that is where I found a mismatch. And negatives, points of improvement, I would suggest to stick to 2 pointers and have at least 1 pointer on content. Your first 2 pointers were at least on delivery. For example, Martin Luther King, gave "I Have a Dream." He stood behind the podium and he gave his whole goddamn speech, which is one of the most powerful speeches ever. So content is the king. So always your first point of both commending and recommending, please focus on the content. That shows the credibility of an evaluator per se. So that's the feedback for you I have there. Questions for me? All right. You went like a Rajdhani Express. Even before I could pick up my pen and paper, you were already in your commending and this thing. So like I said, give that pause, that little bit of time ahead, so that you build the connect with the speaker. I felt you rushed through your this thing. And then you said, my scorecard is on 80 on 20. You never score and evaluate a speech. You don't know where he's from. He's probably, from a Zilla Parishad of some town who's still struggling to give his first speech. Never say, use a scorecard, say, your speech was 80 on 100 for me. That's something that you never do. Pause at all places. That's all I have for you. I think I've already said characterization and attention grabbing. If you had put the content first and then you spoke about delivery, it would have added more value. Any questions per se? I think the evaluator 2 or 3, I will give her the feedback, but let's do that in the end. Yes.
Toastmaster Pragya. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Lasya. So Lasya, I actually have 2-3 questions. I'll quickly put them. First thing is, I heard one of the education session which said that even using words like "let's make your speech better" is somewhat forms in the part of a negative loop. So are there any words which you feel are really appreciative and which still tells the speaker that we are adding a recommendation for you? So that is one part. Second part, yeah.
All right.
I'll put down the questions.
So maybe you could. Okay, let me do this first. Okay. So probably, like I said, from this speech, you could always say, to make your speech heard and not be an unsung heroes, I have a couple of recommendations. This is very pertinent to the speech, or just say every speech has a scope for improvement, and so does yours. I've heard somebody say, to make your speech from a speech to the speech, I have a couple of recommendations. They know that you're giving an evaluation. They know that you are going to give them feedback. It's not a superfluous thing at all. Nobody's perfect. If you have to say, they also know that you're going to giving recommendations. All right. So pick up like I gave you a couple of. I would ideally love if somebody picks it up from the speech and then gives it, or just given like 1 or 2 examples. Next question, ma'am.
So is it okay to use words like "let's take your speech to the world stage"? Is it okay to use that word?
Yes.
That's fine, right?
World stage. Why do you want to give a benchmark? Like what I said, don't scorecard. You're scorecarding there.
Okay. Secondly,
everybody has their own scorecard. So don't compare. Don't do a compare.
Okay. Second thing is that, as we say, that there is always a structure that is to be followed, just like we are giving a speech. So while you're delivering the speech, should we while delivering the evaluation, should we consider the speaker to be the hero or the central idea of the whole evaluation, or at that point of time are we the stars, or the speech?
The speech is the star, always.
Even when we are delivering the evaluation, because we are being evaluated by the ballot.
You are recognizing the speaker, but you're evaluating the speech. You're not evaluating the speaker, and you are not the superstar here. All right, you are evaluating only the speech. You're recognizing the guy who put the 4 hours of effort to create the speech and give the speech. You're recognizing him and you're delving straight into the speech. And it is only the speech. You will never evaluate a speaker.
Right. Sure. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Please tell me.
Hi. Thank you so much for your session. So I have one question which you've probably come across many a times. One scenario where the speaker is really good and you have a difficulty in coming up with recommendations, and the second one where the speaker is not as good as you would like and you have too many recommendations to give. How would you tackle both these situations?
Okay. One, let us take the second part first. The speaker is not good. Be true. Genuinely be true. At the end of the day, you want to make the whole concept of evaluation is making the other speaker better. All right. At the same, see, the speech might be bad, but at the same time, you can also understand, see, he could have delivered the speech badly, but at the same time, there'll be one or two positive. This is, see, these are, see, as and when you start giving evaluations, it'll be very easy to pull out those pointers. So in your introduction, if it's one of your first few evaluations and you're struggling with pointers, both positive or negative, I would suggest you might use, for delivery, you might use a CRC approach. I would suggest using this method. Let me very quickly share my screen for a moment. Share the screen. 1 second. I would suggest using this method, this thing. Your impact, opening body, conclusion, content, it'll be easy for you to pull out pointers. Like, okay, how was this impact? Good, bad. Opening body, conclusion, good, bad. Content, good, bad. Transition, good, bad. It's very easy to pull out pointers. It is very rare that, very rare that there is no recommendation. Any speech has a scope of improvement. All right. So, what I would suggest, if you're struggling as an evaluator for not getting those pointers of commending, recommending, I would suggest having this template in this I would say for the first 20 evaluations that you're making, not after that. All right. This is for a very beginner. You can use that template to pull out pointers of commending and recommending. Every speech has something good. Every speech has points of improvement. But again, like what you said, if the speech is genuinely, you really did, you wanted to trash him, but then stick your positives to 2 and points of improvement to 3. That's where I would leave it at. But we never trash a speaker complete this thing, or put the speaker straight on top of the or the hill that he becomes too arrogant. All right. So there is always a scope for improvement for any speech. You pick up Martin Luther King's. If you want to really improve, pick up the world champion of public speaker, at least the last 10 world champion of public speakers. See, I think I got it on WhatsApp also. Last 10 world champion of public speakers winners.
Yeah,
so,
I did too.
Try evaluating them. It's once you do for the last 10 years, this thing, you can evaluate any speech. You will know the points of improvement for any speech. Trust me on that. That's what I did to become a better evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. I think we are running a bit short of time here now. So we would like to wrap up the Q&A session. We'll take the rest of the questions offline. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope it was an amazing, and I can see that it was an amazing session. And thank you so much, Toastmaster Lasya, for sharing your knowledge nuggets and all the amazing feedback and all the things that you said about evaluation. I think not just the 3 evaluators, but even we as the audience, we were hooked to the screens and we were actually trying to figure out what we will do this time in our evaluation contest. So thank you so much for that, Toastmaster Lasya. Let's move on and call upon our very own division director.
Sarthak, I'm sorry to interrupt. Sarthak, I'm sorry to interrupt. Lasya, you promised to give away evaluation to our 3rd evaluator. I think she's been waiting. Lasya, if you can do that, then we will jump to the next segment.
Toastmaster Lasya, do we have you in the meeting? So Toastmaster Amulya, I guess you can take an offline evaluation from her.
Sure. Please, Sarthak, proceed with the rest of the meeting. I can connect with her offline. Thank you, Lasya.
Thank you.
Both Lasya.